Good. Let's start with the knees bent, little anterior and posterior tilt. And anterior and posterior. And again, find a rhythm that feels helpful, informative, and almost allowing the two sides to entrain with each other. Good. And coming back to center. And let's do isolating the right side. I'm going to tip just the right side, right sitting bone towards the floor. So it's like a half anterior tilt. And then the opposite, right sitting bone lifting as the top of the sacrum moves back. So posterior tilt, and I'm initiating just on the right side. And the left side will respond in some way, but I'm not initiating. I just want to feel the mobility or the sensation of the right side. One more, anterior tilt and posterior tilt. And pause. So one thing that can happen is the side that's more anteriorly tilted, because the frontal hip bone is further away from the belly button, you get a little bit more of the more shortening in the lower back. So you can get a little pinched feeling in the lower back. So you're a little more in a back bend on one side. So sometimes that's just interesting. Okay, other side. Let's do left sitting bone towards the floor, a little anterior tilt. And then posterior tilt, just on that left side. Again, right side is going to move, but it's not initiating. It's not as big as the movement. Anterior, posterior, just noticing sensation. Or range of motion or ease of motion. Good. And then coming back to center, and then let's roll both same time. Anterior, posterior, right and left. And maybe even noticing, right, things like sometimes it's hard to track this. If you feel one sitting bone moving closer to the floor sooner, or noticing different weight in the foot or the feet. Right, I'm noticing one foot feels lighter in the anterior and the posterior tilt. Could be opposite, could be same foot in both. And then coming back to center, and just let your legs straighten. Pause for a moment. Good, and let's let the head, little roll with the head, little roll to one side. And slowly, slowly back to center. Feeling the back of the head. The shape, any ridges, more sensation. Right, having to work harder in certain places. Slowly side. And center. Slowly center. And slowly other side. And center. Good. Arms, I'm just going to do a little sliding both hands, fingertips towards the feet. I'm sliding the hands down along the floor. And then the opposite, sliding the shoulders up towards the ears, that little elevation of the shoulder blades. Hands down towards the feet, little depression. Elevation. And depression, right? Noticing just the movement. I'm noticing one shoulder blade's a little more kind of on the floor, and one's curled towards the side of the body and forward. Just noticing. Maybe you can feel that. Maybe there's a difference in the collarbones or a sense of close to the floor, further away from the floor. And then hands on the floor, but I'm still going to move the shoulder blades. So I'm taking shoulder blades wide and towards the ceiling. So my upper arms are going to lift towards the ceiling. And then shoulder blades back to the floor and in towards the spine. And wide away from the spine, wrapping around the ribs and forward. Or that lateral edge is moving up towards the ceiling rather than the whole thing, but shoulder blades then in or down and in towards the spine. Just playing with that rhythm. Good, and then let's just pause and do one side. One arm to the ceiling. And one arm down to the floor and in towards the spine, right? Called protraction and retraction. Good. And then let's feel the other side, right? Up to the ceiling and back to the floor and into the spine. Protraction, wide and forward. And then in, back to the floor and in. And just notice the difference in mobility, any pull around the collarbone or the neck. And both sides wide and back and in. Sometimes one shoulder blade fits or sits already more forward and one might sit already further back and in. Just again, letting them entrain a little bit. Good. Come to center and pause. Good, and I'm going to bend the knees. I'm just going to take the arms up towards the ceiling, but almost like I'm holding a beach ball. So they're slightly round, hands aren't touching. It's like there's a beach ball in my chest and I'm holding the ball. And I'm going to try again here to take shoulder blades down to the hips and up towards the ears, down and up, down and up. Good. And then pausing through at center point. And let's take shoulder blades wide. And then back and in. And just notice how you're organizing the body to do that. What becomes your strategy for doing that? Good. One more, wide and forward to the ceiling, back to the floor and in towards the spine. Good. And just letting the arms rest for a moment. Even just let the head bob a little or roll a little, side, center, side. Good, and let's do one more little prep. Let's do a little, I'm gonna slide my right hand towards my right foot, my left hand up, right? So left shoulder blade goes towards the ear, right shoulder blade, arm and hand move away from the ear. And you can try it a couple times, switching, left hand slides down, right arm slides up, maybe without moving the head, and see what that feels like. Noticing the influence on the neck or relationship, neck, shoulder, side, ribs, under shoulder. And then maybe letting the head roll and see what the head wants to do. Maybe rolling away from or towards the arm that's moving down. And is there a clear response on one side and a less clear response on the other side? And coming back to center, extend the legs again. Good, bending knees. Take the arms back into this ball shape, like holding a beach ball. And maybe pressing into the right foot, tipping the pelvis to the left, and letting the body tip with, like you're holding this ball, you're just being tipped onto that left back pocket, left shoulder blade, left side of head. So everything rolls, and then back across center and to the other side. And through center. And other side. Nice and easy, nice and slow, just noticing. Just how the body's rolling. Initiation through the feet, the movement of the hips, the movement of the waist, the tip of the pelvis, the rolling of the ribs and the head and the shoulders. And then coming back to center for a moment, arms down. Even legs down. Good, bending knees. Let's take the arms up again, holding our little beach ball. So this time I'm going to do a little side bend. So I'm going to let right shoulder move down towards the right hip. And I'm even going to let the tailbone sweep a little to the right. So there's a little bit of a hip hike and a shoulder drop. Head is rolling to the right. And then coming back to center. And then do that again, that little side bend. And center. And side bend. And center. And then let's side bend to the right and stay in that position. And then we're going to roll a little bit here. So if I press into my right foot again and roll left, right, the head is rolling up, the arms are reaching more up at a diagonal, away from the feet, and then rolling back and pressing into that left foot and rolling right. The arms are moving a little down, still in that side bend. You can play with a smaller roll. You can play with one arm coming down to the floor, the bottom arm as the top arm continues to hold the ball. or make the movement smaller, or change it in any way that your body needs. And just that little roll, side, center, side, center. Head is also rolling, and just noticing with that side bend all of these different variations of movement. Neck and shoulder, ribs, hips. And come back to center, come back to neutral. Arms down for a breath, legs down for a breath. Just noticing the sides of the body, right side, left side. And let's bend knees again, arms up, holding the beach ball. Again, a little side bend, so left shoulder moving down towards the hip, left hip hiking. A little bit of a tailbone swoop to the left, head rolling left. And come back to center. And then again, that side bend to the left. And center. And side bend to the left. And center. And again, we'll go side bend to the left and pause, stay there. And let's roll from here. Pressing into that left foot. Rolling, arms move a little further away from the feet. And just following. And pressing into that right foot. Like rolling into the side bend. Or the shorter side. Let's get this more open side. Arms are moving up, ribs are more open. Arms moving down, ribs a little closed on the other side. Head is rolling. Again, you can always lower one arm. The arm that's closest to the floor, if that feels helpful, or you can keep the arms rounded. You can stay close to the center line. Or be a little more fluid and expressive in the body. And coming back to center. Good, more neutral, arms down, legs down.